Hello, aspirants. Welcome back to this Ancient Indian History learning series. Today, we are going to begin with the topic Vedic Age Part 1, wherein we are going to focus on Aryan invasion and the sources to learn this Vedic age. Okay, so what are the different sources of information that gives us the historical references about the Vedic age? So that we are going to cover today. Fine. Now, one more thing which you should be aware in ancient Indian history, timeline is very crucial. So you should be aware about all the topics which we covered from the very beginning. That is, we started from the Stone Age, then we proceeded ahead with the Indus Valley civilization, and with the decline of the Indus Valley civilization, slowly and gradually we see the rise of the Vedic age. Okay, the invasion of Aryans and the beginning of the Vedic age. So please be aware about this entire timeline. Fine. So let us proceed ahead with the session. First of all, what is this Vedic age and what is its timeline? So Vedic age broadly begins from around 1500 BCE and it goes up to 600 BCE. Okay, BCE refers to before Common Era. It is also referred to as before Christ. Okay, BC or BCE are one and the same only. Fine. So the timeline is 1500 BCE to up to 600 BCE. Now, Vedic age marks the arrival and settlement of Aryans in the Indian subcontinent. And this period is a remarkable period with respect to ancient Indian history because the advanced source of literature, the classical Sanskrit literature, and the classical Sanskrit compositions, Vedas, were composed during this period. And hence, this period is very crucial. Fine. So, we are going to first of all understand who were these Aryans. The Aryans are considered to be the founders of this Vedic age. So, first of all, we need to be aware about these Aryans. Okay, so let us proceed with the discussion on Aryans and their rise in the Indian subcontinent and the theory which was given by Mortimer Wheeler. So Mortimer Wheeler, he gave a theory of Aryan invasion. According to Mortimer Wheeler, Aryans came to Indian subcontinent and they were the ones who disrupted the Indus Valley civilization and they established a new age in India, which is referred to as the Vedic age. Okay. Now, how did he prove his theory? That we are going to understand. Fine. So, first of all, Aryans were the nomadic people, semi nomadic pastoral people who reared cattle. Okay, so cattle rearing was their primary occupation. And these people were from the area of Central Asia, if you are aware about the steppes grassland. Okay, so steppes grassland, that area in the Central Asia, it's the area to the southern part of Russia. Okay, here, can you see here in the map? Okay, this area is the steppes grassland area. So it is said that these Aryans, the nomadic people, they used to stay in that area. And Aryans, according to the historians, they were recognized from the languages which they spoke. Okay, so Aryans were the speakers of Indo-European group of languages, and hence Aryan is actually a speech group. It is a linguistic group. So see, two times we hear the word Aryan in history. One is in Indian history. Second time we hear this word in the world history where Hitler was referring to a superior race. And he regarded that race as a race of Aryans. But remember, these two terminologies are different. When we are talking about Aryans with respect to Indian history, we are referring to a linguistic group, to a speech group, to a group of people who have their identity on the basis of their language which they spoke. And when we talk about Hitler, he was talking about Aryans on the specific characteristic physical features like tall, height was very, like they were tall in height, blue eyed, fair skinned. Okay, so these are the two different orientations. Whenever you are referring to Indian history, we are referring to Aryans as a speech group or a linguistic group. Why I'm clearing this year itself? Because this was a PYQ. Clearly, UPSC has given had given a question that Aryans with respect to Indian history refer to which of the following: racial group, ethnic group, linguistic group, okay, or yeah, there was one of the option. I am not able to recollect. So like that, the options were there. So answer was the speech group. So please remember, Aryans refer to speech group or a linguistic group. Okay. Now the second important thing: which languages did they speak? So Indo-European group of languages refer to the languages such as the primary language of this group is Sanskrit. Sanskrit, English, German, French, all these languages are the Indo-European group of languages. So you can question how Sanskrit and English are English, Latin, even Latin, Greek language, all these are related. If you look at the roots in all these languages, the roots of the words are similar. And this is the claim of the historians who are expertise in the science of languages. Okay. Like, for example, in Sanskrit, mother is referred to as matru. Okay. Ma is the root word. Similarly, in Greek and Latin, ma, mother, these are the root words for mother. So this is just one example. There are many more examples which claim that all these languages, the root words are one and the same. On the basis of the root words, the languages later on evolved. Okay. So first of all, Aryans were the people who settled in Central Asia. They were known for speaking this Indo-European group of languages, and the base language was Sanskrit. Okay. Now it happened so slowly and gradually from 3000 BCE onwards. Okay. So Aryans settled there from around say 4000 or 5000 BCE. They settled in the Central Asian area. It happened so because of the changes in the climatic conditions. These Aryans began to migrate to different continents. Okay. So around 3000 BCE, their migration began. So from here, from the Central Asia, a group of people migrated to Europe. They went to Europe. Okay. And slowly and gradually, they settled down in Europe, where they further evolved these languages. So, Greek language, Latin language, French language, English language, German, all these languages developed in Europe. And because of the climatic conditions of Europe, now we know that Europe is located where it is located in the temperate zone, right? So definitely over there the climate was cooler, and at that time it was much more cooler. It resulted into changes in their skin color. Whenever you are staying in the areas where the climate is cooler, where the sunlight is not that harsh, not that extreme, your body produces less melanin, and naturally your skin becomes more and more fairer. So it is said that these people who shifted to Europe, they underwent the physiological changes, they underwent adaptations to climate, and gradually they became Europeans and they began to speak all these European languages. Fine. So that is one theory, one part. The second part is that now certain people migrated to Europe, but there were a group of people who even migrated to Asia. So a group of people, they began to migrate to Asia. So group of people went to Europe, group of people came to Asia. Where in Asia? So they settled in Iran. Okay. So they settled in Iran, and then from Iran, slowly and gradually, they came in contact with the actual Indian subcontinent. Okay. Indian subcontinent, that is the present day area of India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, that area. And slowly and gradually from Iran, they began their migration towards India. Getting it? So from Iran, they began their migration to India. And to India also, they came in batches. They did not come in one go. First few set of people came. Okay, they came in contact with the Harappans. Now it is said that after coming to in the contact with the Harappans, okay, they killed the people of Harappa, and the evidence given for this by Mortimer Wheeler was Mohenjo-daro, where the skulls, the many skeletons were discovered. Okay, so they began to kill the people of Harappan civilization. Then second batch came. Slowly and gradually, like this, the batches came. And when Harappans became aware that like this, the invaders are coming and destroying a civilization, probably the people of Harappan civilization began to migrate to other areas. That is, they migrate towards Rajasthan area, towards the Gujarat area, towards Maharashtra, central India, okay? And slowly and gradually, the era of Harappa was then occupied by the Aryans. Okay, so this is the theory of Aryan invasion. Fine. Now, first of all, we'll look at the theory and then we'll come to what were the different evidences for this. Okay, so as I've mentioned that Aryan were the semi-nomadic pastoral group of people. They spoke Indo-European group of languages. The main basic language was Sanskrit. So hence they introduced Sanskrit in India during the time they came and settled over here. Okay. And please remember, Aryan refers to the speech group. Okay. Origin Where did they belong to? They belong to the steppes area, stretching from southern Asia to up to Central Asia. And slowly and gradually, they began their migration. So from 3000 BCE onwards, the migration journey began. Group of people migrated and settled in Europe. Yet another group of people migrated and settled in Iran. And from Iran, they began to slowly and gradually come to Indian subcontinent. Okay. So by 1500 BC, they completely settled in India. Okay. And that marks the beginning of the Vedic age. Okay. And this is also because if you look at the timeline of Harappan decline, so from around 1750 BC, Harappans, this age marks the decline of the Harappan civilization. And by 1500 BC, Harappans were completely declined. Okay. So they probably migrated to different areas. And hence, from 1500 BCE, we see the rise of Vedic age in India. Okay. Now, how can we say that this migration happened? And how did we can confirm that the first people came and settled in Iran, and from Iran, then they migrated to India? Now, there are reasons for this. The reason is that in Iran, when they settled, the religion over there was Zoroastrianism. They developed a religion, Zoroastrianism, where fire was worshipped. Okay. And they wrote a book. So there's a religious book with respect to Zoroastrian history, Zoroastrianism, and that book is Zend Avesta. Zend Avesta is the Iranian religious book pertaining to Zoroastrian people, okay, Parsi people we are talking about. So Zend Avesta was written down in Iran. It mentions the names of certain gods, certain deities. And when you refer to Rig Veda, you find the similarity in both the texts. The deities mentioned. So in the early Vedic age, Aryans worshipped Indra. Aryans worshipped Agni. Even the people of Iran, that is the people who were following Zoroastrian religion, even they used to worship fire. Even in their books, there is a mention of Indra. The flora, fauna mentioned seems to be very similar. The terminologies, the names, even they are similar. So that hints probably that definitely people first settled in Iran, and from there they slowly and gradually migrated to India. Okay. Also, there are certain inscriptions. So in Iran, there is a famous inscription, Kassite inscription. Okay. Kassite inscription, and there is one more inscription, Mittani inscription. I'll write over here. Just a second. So there are two inscriptions, Kassite. So one is the similarity which you find in Rig Veda. The second important thing is the Kassite inscription. And there is one more inscription, Mittani inscription. These inscriptions also talk about various names which are quite similar with respect to the Aryans who were there in India, their names in Rig Veda and the names in this inscription. And also, this inscription confirms, mentions that, yes, a group of people migrated towards the Indian subcontinent. Okay. So hence, these are the evidences that suggest that the Aryans first came to Iran, and from there they migrated to Indian subcontinent. Now, this is a theory given by Mortimer Wheeler. This is one version of the theory, but certain Indian historians, they discard this theory. They said that Aryans did not come from anywhere. We do not believe in this theory. We believe that people of Harappan civilization only, because of the changes in the climatic conditions, they migrated into the Gangetic Valley, they migrated into the different areas, and they only continued the Vedic age. So these are the two different versions. Okay. As of now, the version which is acknowledged and accepted and which is given in our books as well is the invasion theory, Aryan invasion theory. Okay. Until and unless the theory that Harappans continued the lineage of Vedic age, it is confirmed by Archaeological Survey of India, by Indian government, and it is officially given in the Indian textbook, till then we cannot confirm it. Okay. So till now, the theory is that Aryans invaded, they settled over here, and they are the founders of the Vedic age. Okay. So from the exam perspective, focus on this theory only, because many historians have discarded this, but still it is not acknowledged, okay, with sufficient evidences. So now, as I've told you that Aryans came to India in batches. Okay. Now, after coming to India in batches, Aryans, they were into conflict with two category of people. One were the Dasas and one were the Dasyus. So who were these peoples with whom Aryans were fighting? Okay. First of all, when I talk about Dasyus, So Dasyus are considered to be the people who were the original inhabitants of India. So probably the people of Indus Valley civilization who migrated to the areas in Rajasthan, Gujarat, in central India. Okay. So probably when Aryans came to India, they had a conflict with the Dasyus. Dasyus were the people of this original people of this land, and they are often described in Rig Veda that Aryans were in conflict with Dasyus. Battles were fought with Dasyus, and ultimately, since Dasyus, like the people of Indus Valley civilization, did not have their advanced weaponry and all, Aryans defeated Dasyus. So that is first thing you need to remember. Okay. The second important thing, then who were Dasas? As I have told you that Aryans came to India in branches. Okay. So first, a set of people came to India. They were Aryans. They settled in India. They are called as the Dasas because they are the ones who are mentioned in both Rigved and they are mentioned in the Zend Avesta as well. Okay. So these were the people, the original branch of Aryans who came to India. And then the later branch who came to India, Aryan branch only. So Aryan who later on came to India, they had to fight with two in order to create space for themselves. First of all, they had to fight with their own original branch, that is the Dasas. Okay, so Aryans had to fight with the Dasas, their originals, and they even had to fight with the origin of this land, that is the Dasyus. So please understand the difference. Okay, so Aryans, they came in conflict with Dasas and Dasyus. Since the Dasas are also mentioned in the ancient Iranian literature, they seem to have been a branch of early Aryans. So they were the ones who originally came and settled in India. So when the final Aryans came, they had to first fight with the Dasas, okay? And probably Dasyus in the Rigved represent the original inhabitants of this land, okay? And an Aryan chief who overpowered, who defeated them, he was referred to as Trasadasyu. Trasadasyu, a chief who finally defeated the Dasyus. Okay, so this is the entire scenario. Now, it is also given in Rigved that Aryans' approach towards Dasas was milder. But Aryans' approach towards Dasyus was very harsh. Why? Because Dasyus were the original people of this land. So definitely Aryans were hostile towards them, considered them as their primary enemies. However, the Dasas were their own originals. So they were milder, moderate towards the Dasas. Okay, so that is being mentioned. The Aryan chief was soft towards Dasas, but strongly hostile to Dasyus. Okay, now in Rigved, there is a term which is frequently mentioned, Dasyu Hatya. Dasyu Hatya means what? They were destructing the Dasyus, the original inhabitants of the land. And hence, it is regarded that Aryans came and destroyed the Indus Valley civilization because Rigved oftenly refers to the word Dasyu Hatya. Okay, so that is there. Also, in Rigved, there is a mention of destruction of Purandars. Purandars were the citadels. Purandar literally means what? Fort. Okay, and Indra was considered to be the god of the destroyer of Purandars. Okay, Indra was a primary Aryan deity who was mentioned in Rigved also and in Zend Avesta also. So Indra was considered to be the destroyer of Purandar. What are Purandar? Purandars are forts, and with respect to Indus Valley civilization, they are considered to be the citadel area. If you guys remember citadel were on the upper area, higher platform, small area, but at a higher platform. So probably these Aryans came, they destroyed the Purandars, they destroyed the citadels, and they killed the people of Indus Valley civilization. Those who remained, those who were able to survive, they migrated to the other areas. Okay. So in Rigved, these terminologies are very prominent. That is destruction of Purandars and Dasyu Hatyas. Okay. So hence it is said that the Aryans came and they were in conflict with Dasyus and Dasas. Please remember these terminologies, okay? And slowly and gradually they began to settle down in India. Fine. Now, when I talk about the Vedic age, it is divided into two parts, okay? Two parts in the sense there is an early Vedic age or early Vedic culture. We will refer to it as EVP. And the next is later Vedic culture, or we refer to it as LVP, okay? Now, the timeline for this early Vedic age is 1500 BC to up to 1000 BC. Okay. And from 1000 BC onwards to approximately 500 or 600 BC, it continues. See, in history, timelines are not rigid. Timelines are fluid. Okay. So some books may say 600 BC, some books may say 500 BC. It is absolutely fine because we cannot give any rigid timelines. And even if you write the approximate timelines in your answers, it is acceptable. But yeah, you should not give a big difference of 1,000, 2,000 years. No, 100, 200 years difference is acceptable because the timelines are very fluid. Okay. Yeah. So coming towards over here. So the later Vedic age begins from 1000 BC onwards. Now, why 1000 BC? 1000 BC is very important because this period marks the discovery of iron. So iron was discovered around 1000 BCE, and because of the discovery of iron, there are many changes with respect to economy, with respect to the settlement, and hence the later Vedic period is the period which corroborates, which matches or coincides with the Iron Age. So please remember, the later Vedic period marks the beginning of Iron Age in the Indian subcontinent. Okay. Now, we will try to understand where did the Aryans settle in the early Vedic period. Okay. Now, so see here, when Aryans came to India in the early Vedic period, they settled in the areas where originally there was Indus Valley civilization, where in the area of Sapta Sindhu Basin. Sapta Sindhu Basin means, Sindhu means a river, Indus. Okay. So Indus and its 5 tributaries, Jhelum, Ravi, Chenab, then your Bias, your Satluj, that 5 rivers, plus Indus, 6 rivers. One more river was the ancient river Saraswati. Okay. So when Aryans came to India, they settled in the area which is called as Sapta Sindhu area. That area is basically the northwest part of the Indian subcontinent, where originally Indus Valley civilization thrived and flourished. Okay. Now, slowly and gradually, as iron was discovered, so iron was discovered around 1000 BC. Because of the discovery of iron, Aryans were able to make iron weaponry, iron tools, and most important, iron tools were axe, sickle. Okay, and because of this axe and sickle, Aryans were able to clear the dense forest which was there in the Gangetic Basin. Now, the Gangetic Basin was a very thriving, luxuriant area with a tropical evergreen forest. Okay. And these forests, if you want to clear down them, you could not clear them with the wooden axe or with the bronze axe. Not possible. You require a very hard metal. And iron was indeed, it is indeed a hardest metal. So, with the help of iron axe and iron sickles, they were able to clear that dense forest in the Gangetic Basin, and slowly and gradually they were able to make the pathways. And from 1000 BC onwards, Aryans began to shift in the area which is called as the Ganga Yamuna Doab area. Doab means what? The land between the 2 rivers. So we are referring to your 2 rivers, Ganga and Yamuna. So between the Ganga and Yamuna, whatever the fertile land is there, they settled down over there in the later Vedic age. Okay. So whenever I'm referring to the early Vedic age, it is a period when Aryans came to India. They slowly and gradually began to settle down in India. And where did they settle? In the Sapta Sindhu Basin. And when I'm saying the later Vedic age, the later Vedic age is significant because iron changed everything. Because of the discovery of the iron, they were able to clear down the forest. They cleared the dense forest, the luxuriant vegetation over there. Not everything, but definitely for whatever area they want for their survival, for their settlement, they cleared down that area. And slowly and gradually, they began to settle in the area that is Gangetic Doab area, Gangetic Valley area. Okay. And then they shifted towards, slowly and gradually, towards the areas of present-day Uttar Pradesh and Bihar area. So in the early Vedic age, they were in the northwest part of India, and in the later Vedic age, they were in the areas of UP, Bihar, Gangetic Valley. Okay. So I hope it is pretty clear how did this transition happen. Okay. Now we are going to understand what are the sources to study this Vedic age. See, in the upcoming session, I will be taking the early Vedic part and the later Vedic part in detail. But today we are going to focus on the sources of information to study this Vedic age. From where do you get the information to know about this Vedic age? Okay. So to study Vedic age, the primary source of information is the Vedic literature. Okay. Now, literatures are of 2 types, Shruti and Smriti. Shruti literature. What is the Shruti literature? Vedic literature, the Vedas, are considered to be a part of a Shruti literature. Okay. So the 4 Vedas are Shruti literature. Shruti means what? Something that has been passed on from the divinity to the sages. Now the theory goes like this. In India, there were Sapta Rishis, okay, the great Rishis of India. And these rishis had a divine vision because of their meditation, meditative powers they developed. They were able to communicate with the supreme divinity. And the supreme knowledge was revealed to them from the divinity. And these sages slowly and gradually passed down this knowledge. So, for many years, the Vedic knowledge was passed down orally. See, the Vedas were written down, composed later on. But for generations and generations, they were transmitted orally. So it was the oral tradition which was prevalent. Why oral tradition? Because script was not yet developed during this point of time. Whatever knowledge was there, it was transmitted through communication and through oral tradition. Okay. Later on, when the scripts were evolved, at that point of time, the Vedas were composed and written down. Okay. Till then, the Vedas were transmitted orally. Fine. Now, when I say Shruti literature, it says that Vedas are not the original creators of man. Not original creators of man. It means that man did not compose the Vedas by his own, using his own brain. The knowledge was revealed to man from the divinity. So from the divinity, the knowledge came to the Saptarishis. From the Saptarishis, it came to be communicated to the Brahmins, to the other sages, and slowly and gradually it went on passing from generation to generation. Okay. So man did not use his own brain to create Vedas, and hence Vedic literature, the Vedas are considered to be Shruti. Shruti, that is one that is being passed on from generation to generation, from the divinity to the sages and to the people. Okay. And the second important thing, Vedas are considered to be Nitya. Nitya means what? It is eternal. The knowledge which is given in Vedas, it is ever living, it is eternal. There is no end to the knowledge which is given in Vedas. The second important thing, Vedas are considered to be apaurushya. Apaurushya meaning that apaurushya. Paurusha means what? Purush, man. Means not. So it means that they are not created by man. It is a divine revelation. Okay, that you need to remember. So Vedas are Nitya, eternal, and they are Paurusha, not created by man. Okay. Now, the word Veda. So what is the root word for Veda? So the root word in Sanskrit for Veda is with. And by the way, this entire knowledge is in classical Sanskrit. Okay. Devdagri, script and the classical Sanskrit. Fine. Now, the word Veda, the root word is with this. And the literal meaning of Veda is spiritual knowledge, spirit of knowledge, means of acquiring knowledge. Okay. So there are four Vedas we all are aware about. Okay. The oldest Veda is the Rig Veda. Then you have Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, and Atharva Veda. Okay. The oldest one is Rig Veda. Now, we have understood that there are two parts of Vedic age, early Vedic age and the later Vedic age. Okay. Now, Rig Veda belongs to the early Vedic period. So whatever information we get from the Rig Veda, it matches with the culture of the early Vedic age. Okay. Not entire Rig Veda. Certain parts of Rig Veda. See, Rig Veda is a very big samhita. It's a very big composition. Okay. So certain books of Rig Veda, certain parts of Rig Veda, they are pertaining to early Vedic age, and certain parts which are later editions, they pertain to the later Vedic age. Okay. So Rigveda is the primary source of information for early Vedic period. So you can say that the majority of the information, that is 80% of the information in Rigveda is about the early Vedic period, and 20% of the information is about the later Vedic period. Okay. And what about the other three Vedas? Other three Vedas, they do not contain any information about the early Vedic age. The other three Vedas are purely the sources of information for the later Vedic period. So if there is a question in prelims, what is the source of information for early Vedic age? Answer is only Rig Veda. And what are the sources of information for the later Vedic period? Rig Veda also, because Rig Veda contains 20% part of the later Vedic period and the remaining three Vedas. Okay. I hope this is pretty clear. Let us now discuss about Rig Veda. Okay, Rig Veda is the earliest and the oldest Veda. It contains 1028 hymns. So it is in the form of hymns. Okay, so there are 1028 hymns, and the book is divided into 10 compositions. You can say that 10 sections are there, and the section is referred to as mandala. So there are total 10 mandalas, 10 sections in Rig Veda, and there are 1028 hymns. Okay, and hymns are called as sukta. The meaning of sukta in Sanskrit is well said. Okay, so remember this. How many hymns are there in Rigved? 102. How many mandala sections are there? There are 10 sections are there. And the hymns are called as sukta. Sukta refers to well said. Okay, now if you look at the books, book number 2 to 7, whatever composition is there in book number 2 to 7, the information pertains to the early Vedic age, and hence these are considered to be the earliest sections, the sections composed earlier. Okay, and the sections which are there, the part 1 and the part 10, the mandala number 1 and the mandala number 10, these are the later additions. And what about the mandala number 9? It is a mix. The certain parts of mandala number 9 are pertaining to early Vedic period and certain are later Vedic period. Okay, so I hope it is pretty clear. So 2 to 7 belongs to the earliest part, early Vedic period. 1 and 10 were the later additions. They belong to the later Vedic period. And ninth mandala, it's a mixed mandala. Fine. Now, how can we say that 1 and 10 were the later additions? Because 1 and 10 mentions about the concept of Varuna Pratha. So there is a hymn. The hymn is very famous, Purusha Sukta. So this Purusha Sukta, Sukta means a hymn, okay? So there's a Purusha Sukta hymn given, which gives us a clear-cut description of evolution of Varna system. And Varna system was not there in the early Vedic period. Varna system began in the later Vedic age. And hence we confirm that these editions, book 1 and 10th were the later editions. Now, what is this Purusha Sukta and what is this hymn and how did the Varna Pratha evolve? We will be studying it separately. Okay. Now, let us talk about the hymns. Okay. Now, what are these hymns? These hymns are in the praises of different gods and goddesses. Okay. Especially when you look at especially the famous god over here. So, three important gods. The famous god was Indra. The maximum hymns, there are more than 250 hymns which are attributed alone to Indra. So Indra was the primary deity, and the primary deity to whom the hymns were attributed was Indra. The second important deity was Agni, fire. So fire was considered to be an intermediary, a messenger between humans and the divinity. Okay, so second important god was fire god. So there are many hymns dedicated to Agni. And Soma. Soma was a special plant from which they extracted a juice, which was called as the Somras, and which was consumed during these special occasions. Okay, a special drink. So the third deity was Soma. So all these deities were revered in Rigved. And most importantly, you all must be aware about Gayatri Mantra, right? It is usually chanted in the Indian houses, Hindu Indian houses. Gayatri Mantra has its reference, origin in Rigved. It is given in Rigved, okay? And as I've mentioned that all these hymns originally from divinity, it came down to sages. The knowledge came down to sages, and then sages composed them, wrote down them, okay? And most of the hymns were composed and taught by men. Later on, composed means what? Written down. But the originally, orally, it was passed from God to sages. So that is the acceptable ideology, Indian Hindu ideology, or you can say that the accepted acknowledgement about the Vedic age, okay, and the Vedic scriptures. Fine. Now, Rig Vedic period, in here we even find references of women scholars as well. Okay, so we will be discussing this in detail when we will be dealing with each period separately. Fine. Now, let us come towards the next Veda. So, the next Veda is the Sam Veda. Sam refers to a sweet song or sweet melody. Okay, so this is basically a Veda of melodies. It deals with music. So see, whatever hymns are given in the Rig Veda, the hymns tune is mentioned in the Sam Veda. And if you know the Saptaswar, Sarega Ma Padhani Sa, they are mentioned in this Sama Veda. So Sama Veda, it is an traditional book, a classical book on Indian music. It is composed of summons. There are chants, okay, designed to be sung during sacrifices. So you know that during sacrifices, the Brahmins do certain ucharan. They speak something, the mantras in a particular tone. So that tone, that mantra chanting, everything is given in Sama Veda, okay. So Sama Veda, it's a foundational Veda on music. Next is Yajur Veda. Why for Yajur? Why for Yajna? So this deals with the exact rituals the details of the rituals that need to be performed. Okay, so it deals with the sacrificial formulas. And there are two types of Yajurved, Shukla and Krishna. Now, you know that there are phases of moon, new moon and black and full moon. Okay, so white Yajurved, it deals with the full moon period, the Purnima period. Okay, so what all rituals you need to do during that phase of moon that are mentioned in the Shukla Yajurved or the white Yajurved, and what all things you need to perform during the new moon period, that is the Krishna Paksha. Okay, so that is mentioned in the black Yajurved. Okay, so Yajurved, it's a book on rituals. It's a book on yajna. It's a book on sacrifices. Okay, so remember, why for yajur, why for yajna. The next is Atharva Ved. What is Atharva Ved? Atharva Ved is the Veda which deals with different topics. Okay, so most importantly, it's a Veda which talks about magic, charms, spells to ward off the evil spirit. Okay, all this. And by the way, this was a PYQ. The question was that which of the following Veda deals with magic, charms, and spells? So answer is Atharva Veda. Okay, so basically, there must be a thinking that if the good spirit exists, so bad spirits might be existing. So certain tantra mantra were given in the Atharva Veda to get rid of all this evil spirit and all. Okay, magic, charm, spells is mentioned in that. Apart from that, Atharva Ved also mentions about the common diseases, how to treat this common diseases, and the common domestic rituals. Okay, so it's a comprehensive Veda which deals with medicines, healing, and day-to-day rituals. Fine. So this is all about the four Vedas. So please remember, Rig Veda is the oldest one, and certain part is belonging to the early Vedic age. The later editions, 1 and 10, were the later editions in the Rig Veda. The next is Samaved, the foundational book on Indian music. Yajurved, it deals with yajnas. Shukla Yajurved and Krishna Yajurved are the two parts of it. And Atharva Ved, a comprehensive Veda which deals with the myriad topics, magic, charms, spells, diseases, healing, and domestic rituals. Okay, I hope it is pretty clear. Let us move ahead. Now, the next part is Upanishads. Now, Upanishads were composed at the end of Vedas, and hence they are called as Vedanta. Vedanta means Anta of Veda, the last part, okay, that is Vedanta, and hence they are called as Upanishads. Now, Upanishads are the foundational books on Indian philosophy. The basic Indian philosophy origins from Upanishad, okay. Now, the literal meaning of the word Upanishad is that sit down near someone. Now, the knowledge given in Upanishad is so intense, so in depth that you and me, if we'll sit and understand, it is very difficult to comprehend it. So, you require a guru who will impart this knowledge to you. So, hence, it is said that sit down near someone, sit down near your guru, and he will impart you that philosophical knowledge. So, the literal meaning of the word Upanishad is what? To sit near someone. And who is that someone? He is your guru. So sit down near that guru, and guru will impart you that knowledge. Now, what knowledge is there that you cannot understand, you and me cannot understand? So this is the knowledge about the philosophical things like Brahman, Atman, and Moksha. So I'll explain you in short. In Hinduism, so this is a basic Hindu philosophy, it is said that there is a supreme divine deity. He is Brahman. Now see, do not confuse this Brahman with the Brahmins, the priest, or the uppermost Varna, Brahmin Varna. No. Here, when I'm talking about the Brahman, he is the supreme divine entity. Okay. So, or you can say that the Paramatma, okay, in Hindu philosophy. So, Brahman is the supreme divine entity. Okay. Now, this Brahman has infinite parts, small parts. The parts of Brahman are Atman. Fine. So, there is one Brahman, and the Brahman has infinite parts, and these are Atmans. These Atmans take the form of a human body. They come in human body, and they are you and me. So, basically, we all are the sources of Brahman in the form of Atman. So we all have Atmas. Atma in us. Atma is what? Basically soul. We all have soul in us. This is a body. This is a human body which has an Atma. And this Atma is ultimately part of what? It is a part of the Brahman. Brahman, Paramatma. So he is the Paramatma, the supreme Atma, the Brahman. And we all are his infinite divisions. So that is Atman. I hope it is clear. Okay. So there's a Brahman, the divine the super divine or the supreme divinity, and his infinite parts are Atman. You or me are the Atmans, okay? And the Atman could be in animals also. So not only human form, it could be animal, everything, the creatures, insects, everything has the Atmans, okay? So now the important thing is that there is a cycle of life and death. According to Hinduism, according to different religions, the theories are different. We are talking about the foundational Indian philosophy, that is the Sanatan Dharma and the Hindu philosophy. Okay, so it is said that there's a cycle of life and birth. So you have taken one life, depending upon your karma. So there is yet another concept in Upanishads. There is a concept of karma kand, karma. Okay, so, depending upon your karma, whatever karma you did in this life, depending upon that, you will get the next birth. Okay. So, if you are doing a good karma, so accordingly, your birth will be decided. If you are doing the bad karma in this life, see, first of all, it is said that whatever you do bad, you have to pay off in this life. But sometimes it happens so the justice cannot be served in this life. Okay. So, hence, you have to repay your bad karmic deeds in the next birth. So, depending upon your karma, in this life, your next life will be decided. Fine. So, this cycle will go on and on and on until and unless you are entangled in this karma, your cycle of life and death will go on and on and on. Okay. And in one birth, you will get this realization, the realization that I am an Atman, there is a Paramatma, and this is a cycle of life and death. I need to get out of this cycle of life and death. That is the ultimate goal in Upanishads or in the Hindu philosophy, Indian philosophy. The goal is that to break this cycle of life and death, okay, and to get moksha. Moksha means what? Further, there won't be any rebirth. So you have cut down this cycle of life and death, and finally, your Atma is liberated, and that Atma will go and merge with the Paramatma from where it originated. Okay. Now, why there is this cycle of life and death? The reason is that every Atma has come over here to learn, to gain experiences. Okay. So, by taking birth, you are learning, you are taking experiences, you are spreading good things. If you are doing bad things, you have to repay for it. So, this is an accumulation of your experiences which you have to live in the lifetime. But ultimately, after successfully, so there is a step of evolution in this birth. For example, you took a birth and then you did a lot of bad things. Slowly and gradually, in every life, you have to grow your consciousness, you have to grow your experiences, you have to become a better version of yourself. And finally, you will reach a stage where you will understand the truth, the reality, and you will try to do good karmas. And finally, once your bag is full of good karmas, the cycle of life and death will end. You will get moksha, and finally, your Atma will be liberated from this cycle of life and death, and you will be integrated with the Paramatma. So, this not I am saying, this is not my philosophy, this is a traditional Indian philosophy, okay, which is given in this Upanishads. So, see, I have explained this to you in a very simple layman terminology. There are different layers to this, which is given in Upanishads, which is very difficult for you and me to comprehend, okay. So hence it is said that we need a guru to understand all these things. Fine. Now, the next important thing, how many Upanishads are there? There are 108 Upanishads in number. So 108 Upanishads are there, okay? And do you have to remember all of them? No, but you have to remember a few important ones because questions have come in UPSC, okay? So the one Upanishad which is very famous and already UPSC has asked question on this, that is the Mandukya Upanishad, which is also called as Mundaka Upanishad, okay? So this Upanishad, Mandukya. Mandukya also referred to as Mundaka. Okay. Now, this Upanishad is very important because this Upanishad has given the tagline Satyameva Jayate. And this is in India, right? When we talk about the Indian judiciary, the tagline Satyameva Jayate, truth alone trumps. Okay. So, this is taken from Mandukya Upanishad or Mundaka Upanishad, and this was a PYQ. So, remember this. The second important Upanishad is Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad is also very important because this gives us the references of the ashram pratha. So you might be aware that there used to be ashram system, brahmacharya, okay, grihastha, vanaprashta, sannyasa. So that is mentioned in the Chandogya Upanishad. Chandogya Upanishad mentions about the first three ashrams, brahmacharya, Grihastha and Vanaprastha. Okay, the sannyasa evolved later on. Okay, so that you need to remember. And the next is Maha Upanishad. So from Maha Upanishad, the phrase Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, which was the tagline of India's G20 presidency. So in 2022, the G20 presidency came to India, right? And so India's tagline was this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So this Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam was taken from Maha Upanishad. So please remember these important details because frequently such questions come in prelims. Okay. So what are the, so I hope it is very clear what are Upanishads, the foundational books on Indian philosophy, and they talk about Brahman, Atman, Karma, Moksha, Jnana, knowledge. It also talks about Dharma, your duty. What is your duty? So whatever ashram you are in, whatever duties are given in that ashram, that is your dharma. You are in a brahmacharya ashram. So what is your role? You are a student. So your role is to get as much jnana as possible from your guru. So that is your dharma, to get knowledge. So like that, every ashrama has its own dharma, which we'll be discussing in the when we'll be dealing with this ashram topic. Okay. But I hope it is very clear. Fine. Now, the next important part of Vedic literature is Vedangas. Now, what are these Vedangas? Vedangas are considered to be the limbs of Vedas. Now, this is very important because this was asked in the preliminary examination. Okay. So, Vedangas are angas of Veda, anga, limbs, the body parts of Vedas. Okay. So, in order to understand this Vedic literature in detail, you need to have a good hold, good knowledge about Vedangas. Then and then only you can understand the Vedic literature in a proper manner. So, there are 6 Vedangas. Okay. So, the first Vedanga is Shiksha. Shiksha refers to pronunciation. See, every mantra, every word has a sound. And unless and until your uchchar, your pronunciation is not correct, it will not be the correct interpretation of it. Okay. So hence, it deals with the correct pronunciation, correct sounds with respect to the Vedic mantras. Okay. So that is given in the Shiksha. Second is Kalpa. Kalpa means rituals. So Kalpa deals with the exact procedure for the Vedic rituals. So whatever Vedic rituals are there, ceremonies are there, sacrifices are there, how you need to perform, what are the mantras, what all samagri, ingredients you require to perform that yajna, everything is in detail given in the Kalpa Vedanga. Next is Vyakran. Vyakran means what? Grammar. So see, a Vedic Sanskrit is a classical Sanskrit. It is different from the present day Sanskrit. Okay. So it deals with the grammar of the classical Sanskrit. Okay. So after studying this, you will get a better idea about understanding the Vedas. Okay. Nirupta. Nirupta is the etymology. Etymology means what? It tells you the origin of the words. Like for example, Veda. What is the origin? With. So, like that, it tells us the meanings of the difficult words. Like in the dictionary, you get the root word, right? So, like that, it helps us to find out the etymology, the roots of each and every word. Chanda. Chanda are basically the metrics. Metrics, it helps us. Like, for example, if a particular mantra is there, so you have to chant this 108 times, you have to chant this 2 times, 3 times, right? The metrics, how many times you have to recite it, then it will be fruitile. That is mentioned in this Chanda Vedanga. And finally, Jyotisha. Jyotisha astrology. So in India, it was everything, all the rituals, everything was done as per the planetary movements. Okay. So Kal, the time was very important. They used to take into consideration which is a Shubha Kal, which is a Rahu Kal, which is not appropriate for performing these rituals. So that was clearly mentioned in this Jyotish Shastra. Okay. So these are Vedangas, the 6 limbs of Vedas. In UPSC, they had given the Sanskrit words and you have to match with the English meaning. Okay. So Shiksha, phonetics, sound, pronunciation. Okay. Shiksha, you can remember like S for Shiksha, S for sound, and then you can link it with phonetics. Okay. Kalpa is with respect to the ritualism. Vyakran, we all can guess it, it's grammar. Nirukta, it's the etymology. Chanda, it's metrics. And Jyotish, we all know. So Vedangas are very important because after studying Vedangas, you will be in a better position to understand the Vedic Samhita. Okay. And Vedangas ensured the preservation, accuracy, and continuity of Vedic knowledge for generations through oral tradition. Because if you do not have the knowledge of all these things, because see, Vedas were transmitted orally, getting it, and if you do not have the knowledge, correct sound and all, so anyone will speak the mantra in their way, right? But that should not happen. It should be passed in a proper manner, and hence the Vedangas were very significant. Okay, I hope Vedangas are pretty clear. Let us move ahead with. Now let us try to understand the structure of Vedas. Okay, so Vedas, each Veda, so we have four Veda. Each Veda have four components. Okay, so the first is the Samhita. Samhita means basically the primary book of Veda, like Rig Veda, Sama Veda, Yajur Veda, Atharva Veda. The primary book is the Samhita. Okay, second is Brahmana. Brahmana means what? The commentary on Vedas. Like for example, you read Rig Veda, and whatever you understood about the Rig Veda, you wrote your own explanation. That is called as a commentary. Okay, like the cricket match is going on. You're giving the live telecast, live commentary. That is the Brahmana. So later on, the rishis, okay, the later rishis, the later scholars, those who studied Vedas, whatever they understood, because see, Vedas were in the classical Sanskrit, okay, the original Vedas, when they were composed and written down, finally written down. So it was very difficult for understanding. So many people gave commentaries. They whatever they understood, they wrote down. So that is called as the Brahmana. So original Veda is the Samhita, which contains the original text. But the Brahmanas are the later interpretations, the prose text, which gives you the commentaries of different scholars. Getting it? Next is Aranyakas. Now, what are Aranyakas? Aranyakas are the forest books. Basically, these are the guidelines for the rishis, for the students who are in the Brahmacharya ashram, who are in the Gurukul phase, where they are getting educated from the Guru. So, for them, what are the guidelines? What are the guidelines for the sages, hermits? Everything is given in Aranyaka, and these are called as the forest books, forest texts. Okay, so remember this. This was a PYQ. And finally, you have Upanishad. So, every Veda has parts of Upanishad. So there are 108 Upanishads, right? So certain Upanishads are affiliated to Rig Veda, certain to Samaved, certain to Atharva, certain to Yajurveda. So please remember each Veda has a four components. The core text is the Samhita, Brahmanas are the commentaries, Aranyakas are the forest books, and Upanishads are the final philosophical texts, 108 in number. Okay, so please remember the structure. So what all you need to know? You need to know about the four Vedas, Upanishads, which are called as the Vedanta, end of the Veda. And then you need to know about the Vedangas, the limbs of Vedas, six and number. And you need to know that each Veda has four components. Okay. Now, the next important thing is epics. Ramayana and Mahabharata. Okay. Every person will give you a different version. Some people will say that this did not happen. Some people will say that this happened. It's up to you whether you want to believe it or you do not want to believe. Okay. But we are here to study history. So I'll be talking from that perspective. So Ramayana was originally composed in Sanskrit, and the Sanskrit version is said to be a work of Maharishi Valmiki. So Valmiki's Ramayana, it is said that. Okay. So Ramayana, we all know it's a timeless story of Lord Rama, his exile, Sita's devotion towards her husband, and her abduction, Hanuman, his role as an ambassador, as a loyal servant of Lord Rama, and the victory of Dharma over Adharma. Okay, so beautiful story. The different inputs from Ramayana could be used in your essay writing, in your ethics paper. Okay, so it's a very beautiful theory which establishes Dharma by defeating Adharma. Okay, so that is given in Ramayana, written by Valmiki. Next is Mahabharata. Mahabharata is considered to be a work of Veda Vyasa, again written in Sanskrit language. Originally, when it was composed, it contained 8,800 verses. So at that time, it was called as Jaya. Jaya means what? Victory, collection dealing with victory. But slowly and gradually, when the composition went on increasing, so it became 24,000. And it was then called as Bharata. Bharata were the descendants in India of the Vedic tribes, and hence these were the earliest Vedic tribes, Bharatas. So hence it came to be known as Bharata, and our country is named after the Bharata, okay, the Vedic tribes. And finally, when this composition, the Mahakavya, was composed, it contained around 1 lakh hymns, and hence it came to be known as Mahabharata. And Bhagavad Gita is a part of Mahabharata. We all know that Bhagavad Gita, one of the most popular, revered religious texts in Hinduism, where Lord Krishna gives discourse on dharma to Arjun. So during the time of, amidst the Mahabharata war, when Arjun was in a dilemma, that his own guru Dronacharya was standing in front of him, and Arjun had to kill his own guru Dronacharya, right? And so many great veterans from the family, Bhishma Pita, he was there on the opposite side of the Pandavas. So Arjun was like, how can I kill my own guru who imparted me the Diksha? How can I kill Bhishma Pita? So these are my own people. What am I going to get after killing my own people? So at that time, Lord Krishna said that this is a reality and you have to fight, not because they are your relatives, but you have to fight this war for dharma. And this is your duty to establish righteousness. This is not the battle with your own people, with your own relatives. This is the battle of dharma over adharma. Though they all are your relatives, but today they have taken the paksha of adharma. When did their righteousness go? When Draupadi was being humiliated in front of all of them. Okay, when Dushasan was humiliating Draupadi in front of all these veterans, your Guru, Dronacharya, Bhishma Pata. So where did the dharma go at that time? They did not come to protect her. So if they adopted the path of adharma, now it's your duty to establish dharma, to establish righteousness. Okay. So as the shloka says, yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyutyanama adharmasya tadatmanam srujamyaham. So what does this translate to? So Krishna says to Arjuna, hey Arjuna, wherever and whenever there is a decline in righteousness, O Arjuna, and whenever there is a rise in unrighteousness, I manifest myself. So Krishna is telling to Arjuna that whenever and wherever there is a decline in righteousness, okay, wherever there is a rise in unrighteousness, I will manifest myself. That is, I will take the birth and I will try to establish dharma. Okay, so very beautiful text, Bhagavad Gita, fine. And it also gives us the principle of karma. So you have to do good deeds will pay off. Okay, so that is being mentioned. And most important, if you know that verse, karmanye vadika raste, it mentions that you only have a right to do, you have, your duty is to do the work. Do not think about the fruits of your hard work. It will pay off. Okay, so you as an individual, your duty is to do karma. Do not think about the fruits of the karma. It will be paid to you with time. Okay, yeah, finally now let us come to the discussion on time. So Indian philosophy, all these Vedas, they give a beautiful discourse on the time. I'll just minimize this so it will be visible. Okay. So according to Hindu cosmology and according to Hindu philosophy, okay, time is eternal Kala Chakra. So in Western thought, time is linear. But in Hindu thought and Indian thought, the time is circular. It starts, goes on, and it ends. Okay. So can you see the Kala Chakra depicted over here? Fine. So we refer to this as yugas. So yugas is mentioned in our Hindu scriptures, and each yuga has there is one Mahayug. So one Mahayug is there, and that Mahayug is divided into 4 yugas. So you can see over here there is a Satyug, there is a Treta Yug, there is a Dwapar Yug, and there is a Kali Yug, or Kali Yug it is called as. Okay, so there is one Mahayug. One Mahayug is there, and that Mahayug is divided into 4 subsequent yugas, and the ratio is 4:3:2:1. So the first yuga, out of these 4 yugas, the first yuga will be the biggest one. Then little small will be the next yuga, and then little small, and this one Mahayug will end. The earth will be destroyed, and again there will be the creation of the new earth, and then again the new Mahayuga will begin. So this cycle is on, and hence it is called as circular cycle. It is not going to end. So this is the Indian philosophy. Okay, so as the time progresses, The first yuga will be the yuga where everything will be so good, so pure, but with time, everything will be corrupt. And hence, that will mark the decline and the end of the earth, okay, not universe, earth, okay. So, the first yuga is the Satyug, which is the most golden era, Krita Yuga, okay, and this is the duration. It is 17 lakh 28,000 years, okay. So, this is the complete for 100%, okay, that is there. So age where there is a wisdom, where there's a knowledge, no diseases, no sorrow, love is there, okay. Then the Treta Yug, it will be little less. So 4 is to 3 is to 2 is to 1 is the ratio, okay. So this will be 75%. So 12 lakh 96,000 years, human years, okay. So over here, virtue slightly degrades. So it is said that Ramayana happened in this yuga, the Treta Yuga, okay. Then the next is the Dwapar Yug. Dwapar Yug, further there is a decline, okay. It is 8 lakh 64,000 human years. And it is said that here further decline happened, and hence the Kurukshetra war, the Mahabharata war happened in the Dwapar Yuga, where Lord Krishna took the birth, okay. And then there is a Kali Yuga, which is around 4 lakh 32,000 years. And here, this is the age of materialism, ignorance, okay. And this is our current era, as said. And slowly and gradually, the Kali Yuga will end. So, this Mahayuga, everything will end. One Mahayuga will end, and the new Yuga will begin, okay. So, this is a, sorry, Hindu philosophy of time. Okay. So just remember this Satyug, Tretayug, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. The timeline you need to remember. Okay. This can come in prelims. So I have highlighted. Fine. So that's it for the day. So today we have discussed the theory of Aryan invasion. We have studied the Vedic sources. Okay. All the Vedic sources, all the Vedic literature is done. So Vedas, Vedangas, Upanishads, okay, these Upanishads are Vedantas. Then each Veda has a Samhita, Brahmana, Aranyaka, and Upanishad that you need to know. Epics are there, Ramayana and Mahabharata. So these are there. So this is the entire corpus of the Vedic literature, okay? So that you need to know. And in the upcoming session, we are going to discuss early Vedic period, the first period, early Vedic period in detail. So we will be studying about the society, polity, economy, culture, religion in detail. And in the later session, it will be about the later Vedic age. Okay. I hope you guys are able to comprehend these sessions, understand these sessions. If you feel any difficulties, you can put it into the comment box. Okay. So that's it for the day. And one more thing, I work in Topicos as a senior GS mentor, where I take the subjects like history in detail with respect to your prelims, your mains. Plus, I teach economics over there and the overall GS guidance I give. You can visit to our website www.topicos.com. There are many live courses which we are going to begin now, and to avail the discount you can use my code. Sorry, extremely sorry. You can use my code KNT22. Okay, so KNT22. Avail this code if you want to enroll yourself at topicos.com, and you can learn, you can shape your preparation journey in a better manner with the efficient mentors. Okay, so I will be there over as a senior mentor over there, and I will be guiding with the entire preparation, especially with the two subjects, history and economics. Okay, thank you so much for the day. We'll be meeting shortly in the upcoming session. Thank you.